The confirmed number of cases of the coronavirus in Los Angeles County comes to 190,693. The confirmed number of deaths reaches 4,669. Here in Torrance, the total number of confirmed cases is 1,041, with total confirmed deaths remaining at 59. We anticipate those numbers to increase as the county updates its last 24-hour operating period. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Christine Lee. It's 2 p.m. on Sunday, August 2nd. California sets more records for the month of July. In the last month alone, the state broke its one-day death count record 5 times, with the highest set on Friday at 214 additional deaths related to COVID-19. The average number of daily COVID-19 deaths in California for the 7 days that ended on Friday was 127. Last week's average was 104. The state now has more than 500,000 confirmed coronavirus cases, the highest number in the U.S. Florida comes in second with the next highest case count at about 480,000, followed by New York. With the first vaccine to enter the market in a few months, U.S. health authorities are creating guidance on who should receive the vaccine first once it becomes available. Traditionally, first in line for a scarce vaccine are healthcare workers and people most vulnerable to the infection. But the director of the National Institutes of Health, Dr. Francis Collins, says geography and priority to the areas hit the hardest should also be considered, as well as those who volunteered for the vaccine testing. Moderna and Pfizer began large-scale testing last week, which includes close to 30,000 volunteers each. And in the next few months, equally large calls for volunteers will be needed as AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, and Novavax will begin their next stage of testing for a potential vaccine. The World Health Organization is also debating who should get the vaccine first as it works to ensure they are fairly distributed to poor countries in need. In the U.S., the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, a group created by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, is expected to recommend who to vaccinate and when, then advise that the government follow suit. The CDC recently said the first to vaccinate should be 12 million of the most critical health, national security, and other essential workers. Next would be the 110 million people at risk from the virus, those over 65 living in long-term care facilities, or those of any age who are in poor health or deemed essential workers. Then the general population would come last. Drive-through vaccinations, pop-up clinics, and other innovative ideas are all being considered by the CDC. Volunteer opportunities are available now for adults living in the U.S. to take part in clinical trials of COVID-19 vaccines. Candidates could potentially receive an experimental vaccine or the antibody prevention therapy that's not yet available to the general public. Signing up online includes filling out a questionnaire for screening. Candidates should also know that applying does not guarantee that they will be accepted into the trial. The nation's top infectious disease specialist, Dr. Anthony Fauci, said to the House Select Committee recently that he encourages Americans to register to take part in these clinical trials to help become a part of the solution. The COVID-19 Prevention Network, or CoVPN, was formed by the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Its mission is to conduct Phase 3 efficacy trials for COVID-19 vaccines and monoclonal antibodies. According to Dr. Fauci, already 250,000 people have registered to participate. The goal is to have 1.5 million volunteers. To sign up, go to coronaviruspreventionnetwork.org. A new smartphone app is helping to give doctors a closer look at the different symptoms patients are experiencing when contracting COVID-19. The app is called COVID Symptom Study, and it was created by a team of doctors and scientists at Massachusetts General Hospital, the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, King's College London, Stanford University School of Medicine, and Zoe, a health science company. Users can input their own health information and get statistics on those also participating around their area. Researchers group patients into 6 different clusters. The first are those experiencing the mildest symptoms, to the 6th cluster, which is made up of patients with the most serious problems. According to the study, the only symptoms that were common in all 6 clusters were headaches and loss of smell. The app is said to have collected information from more than 4 million people worldwide. Lawmakers are taking part in a rare weekend meeting to continue talks of another round of coronavirus relief funds now that the $600 a week supplemental unemployment benefit is expired. Talks are also being had to provide funding to help schools reopen in just a few short weeks. According to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer on Saturday, he said this was the longest meeting they had and it was more productive than other meetings. Schumer spoke alongside House Speaker Nancy Pelosi after meeting with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. The administration is set to support restoring the $600 supplemental benefit, although Republicans in the Senate have fought to trim back the amount, saying Americans would not be encouraged to go back to work if they're making more money while unemployed. The COVID package will be the fifth legislative response to the pandemic and could be the last one before the November election. Small business owners, micro-entrepreneurs, and nonprofits across the Los Angeles County are encouraged to take advantage of money available to assist in COVID-19 recovery efforts. Beginning tomorrow, the third round of the LA Regional COVID Recovery Fund will accept applications again as loan and grant resources are still available. The application deadline is Friday, August 7th. Currently, there are 3 program components: grants, loans, and coaching and technical assistance. Micro-entrepreneurs are considered those who are independent contractors, 1099 workers, street vendors, or sole proprietors with revenues of $100,000 or less. They are eligible to receive up to a $5,000 grant. Small businesses who have a yearly gross revenue of more than $100,000 but less than $1 million, and nonprofits registered as a 501c3 organization that have an annual gross revenue of less than $1 million and provide supportive social services to low to moderate income individuals of families in LA County are eligible to receive a grant worth up to $15,000. The LA Regional COVID Fund is expected to disperse $3 million in aid through 6 total rounds, with finalists notified after each round. If you identify with any of the 3 categories, you're encouraged to apply at lacovidfund.org. The world witnessed another landmark moment as NASA astronauts returned to Earth safely today.
Splashdown.
As you can see on your screen, we have visual confirmation for splashdown.
The cheers are from the support staff at NASA and SpaceX headquarters as the SpaceX crew Dragon Endeavour splashed down off the coast of Florida. The Endeavour undocked from the International Space Station on Saturday and traveled for 18 hours and landed just before 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley woke up on their last day in space to hear a message from their sons awaiting their safe arrival back to Earth. NASA's Commercial Crew program launched to the International Space Station in late May and spent 62 days on board, 1,024 Earth orbits, 114 hours of research, and 4 spacewalks for both astronauts. The 2-month voyage in space marks NASA's first crewed mission from Earth in 9 years on U.S. soil and the first procedure of its kind in a privately built space capsule. Since the shuttle program retired in 2011, the U.S. has relied on Russia's space program to launch its astronauts to the space station. The 21-hour journey home was documented by NASA and SpaceX, which is headquartered in Hawthorne. While SpaceX has launched a cargo-only capsule nearly a dozen times, this was the first to successfully carry humans aboard. Would you be more inclined to wear a mask if it was more comfortable or even more stylish? Well, one nonprofit organization is challenging teens and young adults to a mask designing contest. X Prize organization launched a $1 million competition to take place over the next 7 months aimed at engaging young adults in the design of surgical-grade face masks for consumers. It's called the Next Gen Mask Challenge. Anyone between the ages of 15 to 24 can compete to come up with a design that will make more people likely to wear them. Despite evidence that shows that wearing masks when worn properly can slow and prevent the spread of COVID-19, the U.S. data shows that still 1/3 of the U.S. population does not regularly wear a mask. X Prize surveyed people asking what were some of the complaints with wearing a face mask, and participants said the way they fog up your glasses, lack of comfort, difficulty breathing when wearing a mask, making it difficult to have audible conversations, and exercise restrictions when wearing one. People also said face masks prevented others from seeing their facial expressions and that they often didn't fit properly. So XPRIZE is challenging people to create an innovative design and come up with an alternative to what's currently available in the market while still being able to stop the spread of the virus. The challenge is sponsored by Mark Benioff and Jim Cramers, the host of CNBC's Mad Money. The challenge will award a total of $1 million to a grand prize winner and 2 additional teams and will connect them to rapid manufacturing opportunities. All designs must allow for scaled production and will be evaluated by the XPRIZE team, industry experts, and a panel of cultural ambassadors based on these 3 criteria. Filtration efficiency, just like a surgical mask, capacity to address at least 5 of the top 10 reasons why people don't wear masks, and of course, style. You can get more information at xprize.org. Well, red onions from a California supplier may have caused a nationwide salmonella outbreak in 31 states. According to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, nearly 400 people have reported getting sick. The FDA identified Thomas International Inc. in Bakersfield as a likely source of contaminated red onions. The company issued a voluntary recall on all of its red, white, yellow, and sweet onions due to possible cross-contamination. Canada's Federal Health Department also issued a recall for U.S. red onions distributed by Cisco. In California, 49 cases of illness related to contaminated onions were reported. Salmonella can cause an intestinal infection, which could result in severe diarrhea, fever, and abdominal cramps. Symptoms typically appear within 3 days after infection. The Volunteer Center South Bay Harbor Long Beach continues to support local families in need. This weekend marks the 20th week of its Food for Kids South Bay deliveries since schools were shut down due to COVID-19. The Volunteer Center has worked to make special arrangements to ensure children continue to receive meals during the health crisis. The Food for Kids program is the center's volunteer and donation-driven food pantry that provides bags of non-perishable food and health-related items to low-income students at partner schools in Torrance and across the South Bay during the weekends. They welcome any monetary donations as well as non-perishable foods by appointment only at their main office on Cravens Avenue in downtown Torrance. You can review the list of items in need online at volcenter.org. Well, as we wind down the weekend, you still have a few more hours to take advantage of the city's outdoor dining program taking place in downtown Torrance. Downtown Does Dining Al Fresco returned for its 3rd time, and thanks to the city's partnership with local businesses, the community is able to enjoy dining outdoors at a number of restaurants participating in this pilot program. You can order from at least 9 restaurants in downtown and then eat under the lights on Sartori Avenue between El Prado and Marcelina. City staff proposed this idea to give local restaurants additional options once the state closed indoor dining. This allows businesses to continue serving patrons while in safe outdoor settings. Participating restaurants include Local Kitchen, Chato Tea Room, Madre, Capo Arafune, La Capilla, Tortilla Cantina, Red Car Brewery, The Depot, and Miyabi Uni. To learn more, go to torranceca.gov/COVID-19. Already heading into the month of August, we want to hear how you're spending the last of the summer weeks and how you plan to make it the best one yet. No matter how big or small your summer plans are, we want to see how you're capturing each summer moment. One of our producers recently came back from a week away with a family for a much-needed camping trip to the Sierras. She calls it glamping as they stayed in an RV, but they hiked, fished, barbecued, enjoyed the campfire, and explored the outdoors. Thanks so much for sharing these photos, Jen. We want to hear more stories on our show. Email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. Well, before we go, at the end of each program, we like to share stories from our community. Feel-good pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. Well, with homeschooling becoming the new norm due to COVID-19, a Torrance mom decided to leave her corporate job and focus on her 3 children. Natalie Buther says she wanted to find something to do that could incorporate her family. So she started a small business called Party in My Yardie. We've mentioned some of the great ways she continues to support the community as well as local frontline heroes. She says if you can say it, she can stake it. She came out with her 2 daughters this past week to put up this sign supporting the Torrance Police Department. It says, "Heroes wear badges," and Natalie hopes it gives our officers a reason to smile during this challenging time.
I have a great deal of respect for the Torrance Police Department and everything that's going on right now in the world. I think we're forgetting to remember some of our heroes in the way they should be represented. And so I really wanted to donate to the police station, do something special to thank them in the way that I know how, is by showing them in a sign how much we appreciate them.
Natalie launched her small business in June and says she's already spread joy to more than 50 families. If you're looking to celebrate a birthday or any other milestone in this special way, you can learn more at partyinmyyardie.com. Natalie, what a great way to find passion in what you do while showing how Torrance cares for its community. If you have a great story to share or just want to say hello, send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. That's our update for COVID-19 today. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. as Leslie Robbins brings you the latest updates. Be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
While Californians do their part to stay home, many essential workers help keep our state running. To all of these workers, including our immigrant workforce, we thank you.
Please remember, COVID-19 can be a serious respiratory illness. So if you have a cough or fever, stay home and contact your usual source of medical care, like a local clinic or public health department. But if you have trouble breathing, no matter your immigration status, seek immediate medical attention.
To learn more, please visit covid19.ca.gov.
It's all of our responsibility to slow the spread of the coronavirus. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. You can still use your outdoor spaces like yards and decks. It's also okay to go for a walk or exercise outside. Wear a cloth face covering, stay at least 6 feet away from other people, try not to touch any surfaces, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.